Okay, so I thought I would do a bit of an update. I hit 31 weeks on Friday, it's Sunday today, and in the last week I have recently made the decision to move over to the home birth team, and it was quite a big decision to make, and I've had a lot of opinions, I've had a lot of thoughts, and I just thought it'd be good to make a video about why I've sort of moved in this direction at the moment anyway. So I have always been absolutely terrified of the giving birth part of having a child, and I think in the past it actually has put me off potentially wanting kids, but I think my maternal instinct has always been there and taken over, and I have always wanted kids. And I've just thought, well, it's, I've got to look past that bit. I think after I read Siobhan Miller's hypnobirthing book, which is Hypnobirthing: Practical Ways to Make Your Home Birth Better, it just really gave me a completely different perspective on birth. I think in the past, you think about films, you think about One Born Every Minute, where there's this woman like absolutely screaming in pain, and it feels like the norm to be in hospital and have whatever pain relief you can so you don't have to experience any of that. And I think what it was about Siobhan's book is it was all about how your body is, as a woman, is built to give birth, and you should be working with it, not against it. And a lot of the things that we do today work against us having the best birth we can within certain circumstances. And I think after feeling more informed, it's just opened my eyes up to, oh, okay, so I'm in control, I can make decisions, and actually there's options of where I give birth. I think before reading that book, and it might be so naive to say this, but I thought hospital was my only option. I didn't really know that much about home births. I didn't even know birth centres existed. And it's just given me a whole new perspective on, like, I need to inform myself and know that I can make decisions, and I don't have to have an epidural, I don't have to have sweeps, I don't have to have vaginal checks if I don't want to. And I feel a little bit more empowered about it. At first, when I heard about the birthing centre, when I did my research there after reading the hypnobirthing book, I was like to James, I like the idea of the birthing centre. He was like the same. He was like, it sounds good. It sounds like a really good middle ground. You're in the hospital grounds, but you're in this separate place that feels a little bit more set up for giving birth. But when I rang up the Northampton Birthing Centre, you can't go and visit it until 34 weeks. So we are going to see that the first weekend of August, which I've still got booked in and planned in, because I want to keep my options open. But that then made me, I think about, okay, well, maybe I should consider home birth. Like, why not? So I've been watching loads of YouTube videos, I've been doing loads of research, and I think one of the biggest things is I hate hospitals. I hate the clinical feel of it, the smell. They don't make me feel comfortable. And what you should feel when you're giving birth is as relaxed and comfortable as you possibly can with what you're experiencing in your body. And you want to keep your oxytocin flowing, that feel-good hormone. And I just think, one, the transition to the hospital, because obviously you don't go to the hospital until you're like a certain amount of centimetres dilated, that travelling to the hospital part, I think, will completely throw me off. And also just being in the hospital, I just don't think it will make me feel my best. So I have been considering, okay, well, what would a home birth look like? And I was really lucky. My midwife that I got assigned is actually someone that my mum is friends with and knows. and she's been on the home birth team. She's very open, she's very holistic in her approach to things, and she's all about like, this is your birth, you need to do and what you want to do and that makes you feel the best. And I think she was one who was like, talk to the home birth team, you could even transfer to the home birth team, and at any point if you change your mind, you come back over to me, and we go back to what we were doing before, but at least you've explored it. And I was like, you're right, why would I not explore it? Like, I've got the opportunity to, I should. So I got in contact with the home birth team through my midwife. They reached out and we had a really good conversation. So it was just like a 45-minute phone call where she just asked me why I was considering it, what my concerns were, what my thoughts were. And she was just so lovely and really put my mind at rest, and she really made me feel confident that this could be a really good option for me. But there was a few concerns, and one of the, not concerns, but things to consider. So because I've got gestational diabetes, you are classed as higher risk. So they're not going to want me to have a home birth because I am higher risk. However, because I'm managing my gestational diabetes at the moment holistically through just nutrition and exercise, they will feel a bit more comfortable potentially with me having a home birth. But it is my decision at the end of the day. So even if they are like, we don't advise you to, if I want to, I can. But if I end up on insulin or metformin, or the baby starts growing too big, then obviously it'll be a little bit of a different conversation. So for now, she was like, I don't see there being any problem. However, you've got to see a consultant midwife and just discuss it with them to make sure you've definitely considered all of the risks. It is my first birth. Like, I've not had another child. And that throws in a few thoughts to think about as well, because you don't know what your body's gonna be like. You haven't experienced birth before. Also, because I've got gestational diabetes, between the second and third feed when the baby's born, I would still have to go into hospital to get the baby's bloods checked out. So I would still have to head into hospital after birth. So there was a lot of things to think about after having that first phone call. So me and James planned in another call with the home birth midwife and just had a bit of a chat, did a bit of research, had a few more questions. We jumped on a call together with her. And again, she just really put my mind at rest, made me feel like really confident and comfortable that this could be a really good option for me. So we moved over to the home birth team after that phone call. And I think what it is about the home birth is, one, I hate hospitals, but two, just being in my own home, in my own environment, especially with my gestational diabetes. I've got all my own food there. If I want to have a bath in my own bath, I can have a bath. I've got our front room's got like fairy lights and our own sound system, watching TV. I can go and lay in bed for a little bit if I want. Like, I feel the best when I'm at home. Probably most people do. And if you feel your best and you feel your most relaxed, your oxytocin will flow, and you should then have a calmer birth. Not a less painful birth necessarily, but a calmer birth, and your body is in the best sort of place it can be. You not having to travel into the hospital partway through, because that can obviously slow your oxytocin down, slow your labour down. And also there is research to say that home births do have less interventions, which I am really keen. I mean, I don't know what my birth's going to be like, but I would love to have as a holistic birth as possible. But they still do offer pain relief. So the midwives bring like a shit ton of gas and air basically with them. So that's great to know. I can still have a water birth if that's what I decide to do, because you can rent them or buy them. Also, if anything goes wrong, they're like really risk adverse. So it's, as soon as any sign of anything, that ambulance will be on the way. And me and James are quite lucky because we do live quite close to the hospital. But she also said that as a midwife team, they do get sort of first dibs on ambulances, and you won't be waiting hours. It will literally be 5 to 10 minutes at the most, so you're never like put in danger. So I'm feeling really good at the moment about transitioning to the home birth team, and they're really lovely. The only thing is, the reality of it is, I suppose, is my gestational diabetes puts me at high risk. It sort of means I don't know what the next few weeks are going to look like, because your third trimester is when your hormones really ramp up, and it can be a lot harder to manage your gestational diabetes, and you are more likely to go on insulin or metformin, which adds to complications. I have more regular checkups. If in any of those checkups the baby is measuring too big, that will be a huge concern. So I think there's a lot of things that could put me and the baby at risk that would mean I would change my mind. If anything happens in the next few weeks that means a home birth puts me at a much higher risk, I will 100% change my mind. God, it's making me emotional to think about it. But yeah, so there's no guarantee that a home birth will be definitely a thing that I can do. But if it can be, then I'd really like to go down that route. But the next stage is on the week commencing the 3rd of August. I've got an appointment with the consultant midwife. So the consultant midwife is basically like, I don't know, a head midwife or something. And you go for an appointment at the hospital, and I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. You see the consultant midwife, and because I'm classed as high risk with my gestational diabetes, and I think she looks at my sort of records and how I'm measuring so far, because I would have had my second diabetes appointment by that point, so we'd see how the baby's measuring. Freaking arse bursts, like, I don't even know why I'm getting so upset. So, one, I could have my diabetes appointment in the next couple of weeks, and you know, something, I've got loads of red readings, or the baby's not measuring correctly, there's something wrong with the baby. So that would be one thing. Or I might speak to the consultant midwife, and what she says just really makes me consider that actually a home birth isn't the best option for me. So we'll see how the next few appointments go. Yeah, but before I see the consultant midwife, I would have seen the birthing centre. So again, I might change my mind there. I actually met someone who gave birth at the Northampton Birth Centre. She said she had like the most amazing experience. So my only thoughts with that is it's still going to probably feel a bit clinical. I've still got to travel there to get there, even though it is not that far from my house. So I'm keeping my options open, but I feel really good. So the home birth team are so lovely, so holistic, really aligned to sort of the hypnobirthing book that I read, that made me feel so much more confident and in control of like my options. She was like, we are just here to support you and make sure that you and the baby are okay. We follow your lead in the type of birth you want, which was really, really great. And I sort of talked through some of my birth preferences with her, and she was like, yeah, that sounds great. So I feel really good about it. It feels really right. James has been amazing, because he had like a lot of concerns, which I still have, but I think it's because of other people, not necessarily because of me. But he's like, I will back you 100%, and I think he's really happy, because we both said like, if anything comes up where the baby's not okay, then we'll obviously go to hospital, we'll go to the birthing centre. So we're really aligned there. But he's been amazing. Fucking hell. But I had my first home birth midwife appointment last week. It was quite funny, because they said 3pm and they turned up at 8:30, and me and James, I was in the shower, James opened the door like, what the hell? But we were both working from home, so it was fine. She had a trainee midwife with her, sorry, I'm really blocked up now. Training midwife with her. So that was like really nice to like experience her and her thoughts on things as well. But they were absolutely lovely. I did the breath test like I usually do with the midwife. She asked me how I was feeling. We talked about we were in the front room and she said this is a lovely room to give birth in, so that was like really good that she was saying that. We talked through a few of our concerns or questions that we had. One of them for me was around collecting colostrum, because I'd really like to do that, because if you've had gestational diabetes, colostrum can really help balance the baby's blood sugars out within the first couple of days. And I've already started getting some of that coming out for a couple of weeks now, and they were like they were like, oh my god, that's amazing that you're already getting that. So that was really good and made me feel good, like my body's actually doing something right. They listened to the baby's heartbeat, which again was so lovely to hear and just so reassuring. And then they felt the baby. And when we had our diabetes appointment a couple of weeks ago, the baby was breech, which is pretty normal. It's only after 36 weeks that they're concerned if the baby's still breech. So she felt, and they think the bum is here, which makes sense because it's like my belly looks wonky and it's sticking out one side. The head is down, like starting to move down, and then the legs are to the side, which is funny because I feel all the kicks here, and I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. So actually I can feel it now. Yeah, so that makes so much sense. So it was just really nice to be at home, like laying on the sofa and they're doing all this stuff. So yeah, that was a really positive experience. My next one is in a couple of weeks after I've seen the consultant midwife. But obviously since I've made that transition, it has come up in conversation with a couple of people. My mum has been amazing and just said, you know, I wish I was as informed as you, because she was like, I felt like I had no choice in being induced. I had no choice in everything that happened to me through both of my births. So she was like, I'm so happy that you feel informed and you can make that decision. But so I think the reason I'm getting so upset is because a few people, and they've probably not meant to make me feel this way, but like when I saw my nan this weekend, it came up in conversation, and my nan, sorry, I'm gonna have to get a tissue because this is just getting too much. I'll be back. Okay, I can breathe because I've still got a cold. This whole crying situation is not really good. I don't think my nan meant to, but she was like, oh, you should definitely be in hospital for your first birth, but maybe a home birth for second. And you know, people have been flagging, like, been very shocked or not showing support, and I think that's like put me back a peg a little bit and making me question things. And I don't want to do too much research because there is obviously going to be a slightly higher risk, especially with my first baby, not knowing what my body can and can't do. I've got gestational diabetes, like all these things, but I still have to see the birth centre. I still don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, and I might not be able to have a home birth because of things or situations that come up. So I think that's why I'm getting upset, because people are putting stuff in my mind, even though I was so confident before. And also, I'm just want the best for the baby. So it's a bit of a weird situation to be in. But yeah, if anything happens over the next few weeks, I will always put the baby first, no matter what. And the home birth team made me feel really confident that if anything comes up, if I'm at home, that isn't right, I will be straight to that hospital. And she said for most of the labouring, you're at home anyway and you've got to transition to the hospital. So in that kind of context, you know, there's not that much difference. I just feel like my ideal setup would be at home. Our front room is it's like dark blue. We've got sofas, there's lots of ledges and windowsills I can lean on. We can take the coffee table out, I can have my birthing ball. There's a TV, I can watch Friends, you know, I can lay down with a blanket. We've got the fairy lights. We've got our sound bar, can have the music going. We can have some like candles about. I can then go up and have a bath. I am not a water baby, so I don't think I want a water birth. But after speaking to the home birth team, they did say like it can really help with like pain and like making you feel calm. And I've done a bit of research and it's quite a nice transition for the baby. So I'm not going to completely rule it out at this point. And I have found a doula who rents the pools out in Northampton. So I've got that in the back of my mind, but I want to do a little bit more thought about that. I want to see how the next couple of weeks go, because if anything changes, I'm not going to be at home anyway, so there's no point in paying and renting a birthing pool. So I'm going to see about that. But yeah, I feel good about my decision. I'm just trying not to let the noise of other people come in. And I think the reason I want to make this video is because a home birth's not right for everyone. This is just my view, but I think my biggest point is people are going to have so many opinions on like your birth, and also even like medical professionals, like they are going to be, is it the right word that I'm saying, risk adverse? I think it is, as possible, but it doesn't mean that you have to follow what they say. If your mum doesn't think you should go to the birthing centre, but that's where you want to give birth, then it is your decision and you've got to feel good. And the more you feel good about your situation and the more comfortable you feel, you should have a more, I don't know if enjoyable is the right word, but like enjoyable birth. So yeah, block the noise out, do your own research, ask questions, feel informed, and do what feels right for you and the baby, you know, depending on your situation. But I think the other thing is just keeping an open mind, because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, even if everything goes to plan and I have a home birth on the day, it doesn't mean that the midwives don't get here and then suddenly they're like, your water's break, you've got my comb in, or whatever it's called, where the baby poos and there's poo in the water, we need to get you to hospital. I'm just keeping an open mind that it's not going to go exactly as I would love it to go, and it never will do, but have your knowledge and preferences in place, because if that does happen, say my water's break, something's wrong, I have to go into hospital, I still know that there's things that I don't want to happen when I get to hospital, or whether I have a home birth. I don't want vaginal examinations. I don't really want an epidural if I can avoid it, because it really freaks me out. If I do end up needing a C-section, there's requirements I want for my C-section, and I'm writing this all in my birth preferences, following the hypnobirthing book, not a plan, because a plan never goes to plan. So yeah, just do your research, feel informed, and make sure you're just making the best decision for you and your baby, so you feel good and hopefully have the best birth that you can. But keep your mind open that it's going to change and things are going to, what will be. And I do advise watching some YouTube videos of people's births. It has really helped me to realise how different everyone's births are, and also realise that some people's births are so calm. It doesn't need to be dramatic like you see on the TV, or like one born every minute. And the Positive Birth Company, I'll put the link of the Instagram thing here, which is owned by Siobhan Miller, who wrote the book, is another place where you see a lot of videos of women giving birth, and I think it just desensitizes you a little bit and makes it feel more normal. I really would recommend following that. And I'll also put a few more other Instagram accounts that I've started following that's, I don't know, just given me some food for thought, or made me think about things in a slightly different way, that was either recommended to me by my midwife, or I've just found through like research I've done, just in case you find it helpful.